Hey, this is Trader Travis. Welcome back to another 30-day challenge, round two. You know, my lovely wife, who you all met in the last 30-day challenge, we recorded a video together. And out of all the videos, hundreds of videos I've done over the years, that is honestly the one I've gotten the most feedback on. Mostly positive. A few people were telling me I was mean to my wife, so I had to check in with her. I was like, was I being mean to you? She's like, no. I mean, a lot of it, I guess people took it too seriously. Like, no, I was just tired. But anyway, what I did was first check in with her. She's the authority, right? Whether I treat her disrespectful or stuff. So let me check in with her. And she's like, no, you're fine. But still, just to make sure, I had one of my friend tours, somebody I trust who's been married longer than me. I paid him $100 to go through the video. I said, hey, I've got some feedback on how I was treating my wife. Can you go through this video and point out areas I can be a better husband? Right? So why would I do something like that? It's just totally not the reason I wanted to record this video. But anyway, let's roll with it. It's because of a commitment to personal development, personal improvement. I forgot who I learned this from. It's about maybe James Altucher. I can't remember, or Paula Pant. I study so many people, but it's about becoming 1% better in certain areas of your life, right? And it compounds. And so what you do is, let's say money, since I'm an options guy, let's say I'm already at my 2-minute limit already. So I've already failed this one, but let's keep rolling here. If you work on getting 1% better with your money every year, well, at the end of 10 years, a decade later, I promise you won't recognize your life, because you're thinking 1% better, I'm 10% better. No, it's a compounding effect. You get 1% better, and then the next year, you're 1% better on that better. And so it actually compounds. And so I've told my niece, I'm helping my niece. I'm proud of her. She's getting out of debt and things like that and saving money, unlike some of her peers. And I'm like, you literally can become a millionaire in 10 years. I've seen it happen several times. And people just don't believe it, right? They've worked 20, 30 years in corporate America, and they're like, no way. I'm like, yes, if you follow a certain blueprint. 1% better, a decade later, you honestly could be a millionaire if you commit to that blueprint for the entire 10 years. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. Point of this video is I want to talk about a podcast interview I had. So let me go to my screen real quick. So I had a podcast interview on the Investors Tutor podcast. It's the first interview I had since I won the U.S. Investing Championship. So it looks like they've taken, well, at least I can't find it just for time's sake. I can't find 2019's results, so I'll do a screenshot here on Yahoo Finance where they released the results of the 2019 winners. And you can see here at the bottom, the lonely guy from Idaho who won the Future and Options Division of the 2019 U.S. Investing Championship. So anyway, this is the first interview I had since that. And we kind of talked about, first, I was the first trader ever on this podcast, which I was honored to be, because he's traditionally a buy and hold investor. And a lot of buy and hold investors poo-poo on active trading and things like that. They're not open-minded to hearing what I have to say. So it's very rare I can find somebody willing to listen to me. So I was completely honored to be on his podcast. And so he kind of talked about that. And what I didn't get a chance to explain certain things on that podcast, I wanted to take this video to expand on at least one of the concepts we covered in that video. And that is, he said, how did I arrive to the point where I became both a buy and hold investor and an active trader? And so I touched on that in the interview. I will put a link to that interview below this video so you can listen to the whole interview for context. But I wanted to show the why here in this video. And the why of that is because I get the best of both worlds. And here's what I call my one-stock blueprint. I teach this to clients I work with one-on-one, our six-figure passive income blueprint. How, we went from active trading, right? Where you work, you show up, you trade time for dollars, you make good money. But eventually when your account gets a certain size, you want to set it up so that your income comes in without your effort. So you want to turn active income to passive income as quickly as possible. So that's one of the reasons I combine buy and hold versus options. So I just want to maybe touch on this really quickly and then let you go. And maybe I can come back and expand on this some more if you're interested. But here, people are surprised that 80 to 90% of my money pretty much goes to buy and hold. A lot of people think 100% of my account is trading options. I'm like, nope. My original millionaire mentor taught me that was way too risky. And I have to agree, after doing this 20 plus years now, yes, having most of my money tied up in option trading is just too risky. So 80-90% of my money goes towards buy and hold. It used to be towards cash. So I used to only trade 10 to 20% of my account and then leave 80% of it, anywhere from 80 to 90% of it in cash. And I changed that. And the reason why I talked about in that interview, as I got older, more responsibilities, I realized that active trading was too much work. I didn't make money unless I showed up. And here's something that a lot of people don't realize. If you search YouTube or online, right, all these people promoting day trading, do you notice something about their age? Aren't they all usually pretty young, right? It's a lot of younger guys. How come you don't see 60, 70-year-old day traders? How come you don't see a 60, 70-year-old day trader? If they've been day trading for 40, 50 years, they should be billionaires. Why don't you see a 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old billionaire on the cover of Forbes magazine? Because like me, you get to a point you realize, yeah, that's not how I become a billionaire trading time for money. You become a billionaire by setting up systems. So I came to that conclusion somewhere midway of my active trading career, and I've been aggressively transferring most of my money over to buy and hold, right? Here's the summary of buy and hold here. And yes, looking at time, I'm not going to actually have time to cover this. So this means you have another video here where I can slowly break down this blueprint. But what I want to do is talk about one of the parts that was edited out in my interview where he talked about why do I do buy and hold? And this goes to the benefits here. So let's pull up a stock chart right here. This is a 20-year stock chart of the S&P 500, right? Are you going to bet against this long-term trend here? Here's another visual representation of the bull and bear markets. So the blue is when the times the market goes up. The red is the times the market goes down. If we look at my stock chart, doesn't it go up more than it goes down? You're right. You're used to seeing stock charts like that. But I like this visual representation because you can clearly see that the market goes up 80 to 90% more than it goes down. So do you want to bet against this trend? I don't, right? So I don't want to bet against this trend. This is a nice way to make money. You just park your money in the market and then you let the businesses you are investing in, because when you invest in the stock market, you are investing in businesses. That's, at least logically to me, that's why the stock market goes up more than it goes down, because the purpose of a business is to make money, hopefully ethically, right? But if you think about what you're investing in when you invest in the stock market, you are investing in businesses, and a business's goal is to turn a profit. If they don't, they would go bankrupt, right? And businesses are pretty good at turning a profit, hence why the market goes up more than it goes down. But like every business, you have cycles. It's not always, sunshine and mountaintops, right? You have low periods in your business, and that's the market declines. So I park 80 to 90% of my money in buy and hold because it's passive income. I don't have to do anything to make that money. That was my aha moment, seeing these, buy and hold investors talk about their 6 figures in dividend checks. I'm like, without them even, they're literally on the beach every day. And I'm like, I literally am at my computer every day looking at stock charts and technical indicators and templates. And I'm like, man, this guy's traveling on a cruise and he's bringing in 6 figures in dividend income. I want some of that, but the only way I can get some of that is if I put a lot of my money towards buy and hold. So I do that for passive income. Problem is, let's come back here to this chart. This is the part that gets people messed up. These little red areas here. This is the downfall of buy and hold. Every few years, maybe 40 to 50% of your money goes bye-bye out the window. I don't like that. I don't like how it emotionally makes you feel. And so that is where I take what I learned as an active option trader and I buy portfolio insurance. And if you study options and how they were created back in the 70s, they actually were created as a form of hedging or insurance to help people protect their portfolios. So when you use them in the way they were created, you benefit immensely, right? So that is how I do buy and hold. So I get the gain of buy and hold without the pain of buy and hold. So do buy and hold, but I use options to protect me from the pain of buy and hold. But I've now spent 20 plus years as an active option trader, right? I am not going to just throw that experience out the way. So I was like, okay, how can I use that experience to my benefit? Well, I've always made anywhere on average from 15 to 30% a year on my money with option trading, but it's active income, right? Buy and hold here, when you're buy and hold and we look at, the period from 2000 to 2009 here, what they call the lost decade, People made money, they lost money, but they didn't extract their profit along the way. That's the benefit of options. You can extract profit along the way. You can click buttons and bring in income every single month, right? So that's why I use options. Only problem is active income. It's even taxed as active income. It means I don't make income unless I show up. It's good money though, right? So what do you notice here? I make money as an active option trader, but if I have a stroke, like my brother who's a few years older than me, I don't make that money. And that's where buy and hold backs me up. So again, that's how I combine them. Buy and hold gives me passive income, and it allows me to make some money without me having to show up. Options gives my account a nice little boost there where I can extract profit along the way. Buy and hold, the only way to extract profit is if you sell your stocks or via dividends. Options, not so. I can place a trade, close a trade, take my money and run. And the two strategies primarily I use is the 3X growth strategy. I use that primarily for growth and secondarily for income. So I use options for my growth. And then I also use what we call the cash flow strategies, where I sell options primarily for income, secondarily for growth. And maybe I can explain what I mean by how can you use it for income and growth. I can explain that in another video. But that's what I didn't get to explain in a video, is why I combine buy, hold, and options. And the reason why is because I get the best of both worlds without the negatives of either, right? Buy and hold, I get the pain, I get the gain, I get the gain without the pain. So I use options to protect me from the pain. So I get the best of that world without the negative of that world. Options, right? I get the best of options, right? That 15 to 30% really good money every year. But guess what? The pain of option trading is you don't make money unless you show up. So to compensate for that negative, I use buy and hold. So they complement each other. So all these bigots out here, and I used to be one, so you heard that in the interview, I used to be an active trading bigot. So all the bigots out here poo-pooing on active trading or the active traders poo-pooing on buy and hold, I encourage you to be more open-minded, to be a curious student of the market. Combine both, or find a way to combine both, or just enroll in the Success Academy. I'll show you how we combine both. And then you can get the best, well, I won't say you, I get the best of both worlds without the negative of either.